Major General Martyn Dunne. Martyn, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, Leah?
I'm good. I'm not sure whether do I call you Major General Dunne or what do I?
No, you call me Martyn.
Martyn, okay, that's good. Martyn, the biggest day of the year for the RSA, are you expecting a big turnout tomorrow?
Well, I think yes. I mean, as you said in your entree, that the numbers have increased each year. The dawn service is always dependent on the weather, the turnout, but given the forecast, certainly from Wellington North, it sounds like it's going to be good, so I expect there'll be large numbers in not just main centres. Remember, there'll be many, many, many small little services that'll be held. Some of them are not great at dawn, but at about 10 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around that, 10, 11, people will turn out in the thousands.
Yeah. And it seems to me, and I did say at the beginning that families are going and that the young people are showing interest, especially in the dawn services and being present on Anzac Day, which have you noticed that?
Yes, there's a younger children are turning up and largely it is a little bit about, not a little bit, it's exactly about the, Anzac Cove and World War I and World War II. But it's becoming more and more thank them for their service, for those who served and are still alive, and those who served in subsequent combat or missions that the New Zealand Defence Force has participated in. And so family ties, it'll always be, Anzac Day will always be the biggest remembrance day for us, but it now remembers more contemporary efforts, if you work backwards from Afghanistan, East Timor, Bosnia, et cetera. And those things are now, you'll see, a younger generation of contemporary veterans starting more visible as time goes on, as the last remaining older veterans from Korea and World War II, the latter one, of course, there are very few, and even with Korea, you have an 18-year-old would be probably about 80, somewhere around about 82 if they had been in Korea. And there are some, but not a great deal. But now we have 62,000 veterans, not all of them with overseas service, since 1990 that have served in the Defence Force. So that's a considerable number of people.
It is. I just want to ask, have you heard or are concerned if there's any protests or activists that may turn up, these kind of at the services maybe for Gaza? I know you're in contact with police. Have you heard anything?
No, we normally do get, and as does the main organisers of MCH, Culture and Heritage, they would do obviously assessment, but I'm not aware of any information that would lead to believe. I mean, there may well be people there for that. We're a democracy; people can demonstrate, as long as they, behave. It's inappropriate for people to spoil this day. So we'll hopefully, if there is, it will be well managed and they will be respectful.
Hope so. Martyn, you are the National Board Chair of the RSA. Can I just touch briefly on the vision of the RSA? Are there divisions within modernising it versus the traditionalist? I know in December there was a bit of a brouhaha with the Napier RSA who wanted to quit the national body. And for those that listening may or may not know, but all the RSAs are managed by their own executive committee, right? So
correct.
What when you say that you want to, that you've insisted that the RSA needs to modernise, what do you mean by that?
Well, so on the back of the requirement for all incorporated societies, which there's about well over 100, 180 in fact, not all of them, of course, have club rooms and so on in the RSA, but anyone that's an incorporated society, doesn't matter what interest you have, not just RSAs, you have to redo your constitution by the direction, that is by government direction, by April 2026. So what this really led us to look at was the RSA and the RNZ RSA, which is the national office, were we actually configured in a way that represented the modern RSA going forward? And our view was there was a requirement to, while I think it's well structured, the RSA stands for Remembrance, that's done pretty well. Support, looking after veterans, not done so well. Advocacy is where we actually go out and stridently talk to ministers and the local population about advocacy of veterans. So what we want the RSAs to ensure that the core purpose is about veterans.